BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is the greatest podcaster in all of Galaxant, Kyle JCRB Kraus.
I don't know where that is, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
Oh, you will, because it is part of a new series called Dragoon that I am writing, and we're going to be talking about it all show with the artist Adam Brice Thomas. But before that, we have a bit of news.
Indeed we do. We have decided to move the regular game streams back over to twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming. We've been over on YouTube for a while. We've been doing them there. We've been having a good time with that, but want to try Twitch for its more robust community features. And we have some folks in the Patreon Discord who are also streamers, and we thought maybe we could bounce off of each other and sort of get a whole community-driven thing going with them. So twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming, that's where the Sunday streams will be, and that's where we'll also be doing the regular weekly streams that I do, where I just kind of pop in there whenever I have a chance to and play games for a couple hours. So check it out and hang out with us.
Now, the archived episodes are still going to be on YouTube. That's not changing. But for the live, freshest, lusciously picked off the vine streams, those will be on twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming.
Correct. Yep. Anything else going on, Ian, that we need to talk about before we get into the Dragoon discussion with Adam?
Oh, I'm super freaking busy, but I can't talk about any of it. How about you?
Well, I don't have anything going on, but I can't talk about anything either. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the Dragoon stuff.
Joining us on the show is a special guest. You know him. You love him. It's Adam Brice Thomas.
I didn't know I'd be getting a circus announcer intro.
Oh, we run a circus, all right.
Oh yeah. Oh
no.
Welcome to the show, Adam.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, for the few folks who don't know who you are, you heathens, who are you, Adam? What is it that makes you you? What do you do?
I'm just some guy on Twitter who draws comics. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I'm a huge, I'm king nerd, and I just kind of stay in my house all day and try to play video games while I work on Sonic the Hedgehog comics in my free time. That's pretty much it. I have different things. We did that kickstarted, what was it called? Academics, yeah. And now we've been working on Dragoon for how long now? It's 3 years in production, I think, just to iron something out that we're both happy with.
Yep. And that's why we're here, because we ironed it out at long last. And Dragoon debuts this week on November 1st. And we are here to hype it up.
Yeah.
You hijacked the show for this, Ian? What is Dragoon? What is Dragoon?
Dragoon is a science fantasy epic. It is a brand new story, all by me, and by all, I mean Adam is the only reason why it's working, because he is doing all the artistic duties. But it is...
yeah. I need that kick in the rear for this to all work, really. I wouldn't call myself an ideas man. It takes a lot of oil to get this engine running. But it's I think I've gone through 6 different renditions of the art style I wanted on this, just because I keep seeing new things and I'm influenced by, and it really shows through in my artwork. I think I just, settling on something that just made me feel happy about it was the longest effort.
Well, you also had to wait on me because I completely rewrote the first chapter, from the ground up 3 times. Because I know where it's going. I know who the characters are. I have the vision. It's just how do you start it? Where do you start it? Because there's always a backstory to tell. And it's is this good? Yeah. No, let's start it here. Is this good? No, let's do it this way. And then finally Adam's we need to actually, put this out there. And I'm yeah, okay. I'm done.
Oh.
I'm done.
I think that was like I don't know though. I don't know that I was really ready until now. You know, like there was something about just finding my niche and creating this comic where it like those. It's probably important that we actually went through those iterations and they didn't work out. And can we talk? Are those going to be later plot points? Can we even talk about what those stories were?
I mean, some of it is going to be incorporated again later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very, very beginning, the very first draft gets turned into kind of a flashback portion later on in book one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character that's introduced towards the end of book one who originally had a much different introductory scene. And now that's been kind of completely reworked into the opening of book two. It's there's been a lot of revision, and I want to hype it up, but I also don't spoil anything because
yeah. Well, there was I remember there was a day I think like I spent probably 2 days really of like 8 hours just trying to work on designing the city that heist was taking place in. If you remember, it was like the second script I believe that you handed me, and that one was like I tried to design this like cliffside city that was like vertical in nature just to make it interesting, and I don't even know what I was thinking at the time, but I just couldn't get it to work, and it was so frustrating.
And then that heist was completely dropped.
Yeah, that's okay. No, also like the way I just draw the characters now, it's like it's even changing page by page. I'm trying to rein it in as best I can, but I keep finding better things that work. I think people will be able to see by the art that we post on Twitter occasionally. They'll be like, I don't want to say experimental because that's probably not the right word, but like I don't really work in one style like at the moment anyways. I don't think I've ever truly found a niche for the type of work that I do, so I just want to do what works in the moment for things, and you're probably going to get a strange menagerie of different types of content. Like I think the last 3 things I sent you were all completely rendered like just way differently from each other, Yeah.
But part of that experimentation is a boon to the book. There was a sketch you did very, very early on, just spitballing ideas, and I'm like, that looks super cool. That has nowhere to be in the book. Where do I find a place for this? And it actually affected how I was going to approach certain characters, some design aspects of the Dragoons as a race, and just that one little doodle became this kind of linchpin to the backstory and a lot of other things. So this is very much a creative, collaborative effort.
And mind you, folks, I don't even know what he's talking about because I'm not that far ahead in the thing. I got like 9 scripts I'm looking at right now for the first book, so I actually don't know which sketch that was, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. I think like the hardest part for me has been just I'm not used to drawing a whole lot of mechanical like ships or weapons and things like that. Like a lot of the stuff that I do is really organic, so which is why I never tried out for that Transformers book that I had a chance for back in the day. It was like, I just don't know if I could hack it, man. It's tooth and nail to the grinder just to get like a single airship design for me, but I'm trying to make it work.
I think you do.
Also, like, God, I probably shouldn't say anything about that yet. Actually, let me not use terms of races and people that nobody knows what they are yet.
Well, I mean, at the same time, we can toss some stuff out there, and people are going, "Ooh, what is this tantalizing thing they're talking about?" Instead of going, "Why are they throwing around just nonsense terms?" You will learn.
Can you
learn because Dragoon debuts November 1st.
Yeah, I don't know if you've already like gone over it on the show before, but can you give us like a little 1-paragraph Dragoon statement? That's not like like. Is there any like lead into the story we can work off of here?
Yeah, Ian. What is a Dragoon? What is a Dragoon? What does that mean?
Yeah, Ian. What is that? I'm just drawing the story. What's a Dragoon?
So first, a Dragoon itself is a thing. Dragoon are an ancient race that are thought to have been creators of the realms and are thought to have either gone extinct or as gods to have ascended to the heavenly plane of Drogenheim. It depends on who you ask. The story centers around Wind Taran, who is, in fact, a Dragoon herself. And you learn very quickly she is not divine in the slightest. But the story is about her and the rest of the crew on the airship Fortune's Lap as they are trying to scrape by, and how they get into trouble and how that becomes even worse trouble and how that becomes even worse trouble, and just how the four of them manage it.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very, very starts off very Cowboy Bebop, right? Job to job, and then slowly leads into a larger world. Yeah, I've heard, folks. I've actually heard the entirety of the story structure for me. And one day when we were walking around in Toronto, we had an hour for him to shower me with all of the lore of the series, and it's very fascinating. And there are a lot of scenes in the future that I'm super excited to draw, and I'm hoping to channel a lot of the spirit that I try to put into my Sonic comics and like the action focused issues that I've had. You know, I want to take that and, you know, turn up the dial to 20 and see what I can do with that. But like I'm just imagining like, you know, fights later on with certain characters and how I'll be able to use like fantasy superpowers that I've seen in all of my favorite media and basically just rip off a bunch of things I think are cool. But no, I love the mixing of science fiction and fantasy. I think it'll lead us to some good places, and hopefully I won't get too hung up on complicated mecha designs. We'll see.
So, Adam, when did you guys start on this, and why did you come on board?
Ooh. I think like when I was at Archie, you know, with Ian back in the day. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was like 3 years ago, three and a half maybe. But didn't you just email me one day? Like you sent me, I forget, you sent me like a blind email and you were just like, hey, I'm working on a few projects. I think you might be a good fit for Dragoon. You want in? And that was it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was before I really knew Ian too. So I was just like, oh, this professional script writer, he just, why would he pick me? I'm a new guy. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes with Ian.
I was real nervous when you sent me that email, to be honest with you, just because like I didn't know you really well. I didn't meet you until like the next year, was it?
I think it was Heroes Con.
Yeah.
I think it was Heroes Con 2016, so that email probably would have been like either early 2016 or like the winter of 2015, something like that.
Yeah, I haven't actually known you for that long. It's only been a few years. But yeah, you know, he just shot me an email, and I wanted to work on things, and I figured it'd be a good opportunity for me, and here we are. You know, it's happening. I'm happy to say that, like, as in a long list of projects that I've worked with other people on, and you know, some of them went somewhere, some of them didn't. Like this one feels more real than anything else I've worked on before, and I'm really happy that I've been able to, you know, rip it forth from its well, I'm sorry, I don't have a good metaphor for that. Never mind. But I'm not the most eloquent speaker, if you can't tell. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy with that, but we're suffice it to say we're working really hard. So I really want this to, you know, like my own measure of success is having done something and completed it. I hope I can just make it through all the way to the end. You know, I really want to see this story come full circle and see where my art goes from here. Because to me, like, ultimately, this is a chance to work on something that's not my, you know, that's not my day job. It's not something I draw Sonic, and that's what I'm used to now. But I really want some opportunities to flex my art muscles in a different direction, just because it's fun for me as an artist. I want to evolve and continue to grow, and it's hard to do that. I think drawing the same things over and over again. So
understandable.
Yeah. Also, this gives Ian a chance to write something different too. I like that. I like that we're both doing something that's fresh for us, because it'll challenge us, and it'll probably be good for us, like as artists, I think.
That, and I'm kind of thinking the long term. I've had a ludicrously long run with Sonic. Unprecedented, and I've enjoyed it immensely, and I hope it doesn't end anytime soon. But, Sonic is not mine. I can be dropped at any point. So what do I have to fall back on? So Dragoon is an attempt to create something that is my own, that will hopefully have enough of a following that, it will be remembered, and I won't just be the Sonic guy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I even with me, like, I know that my jobs aren't going to last forever with Sonic in particular. So, like, I'm sure I could probably get other things from IDW. I already did like Samurai Jack and stuff. So that's not. It's like, I know I could always probably find a studio job or get work on other books or take private jobs, things like that. But, like, I figure it's a good time to establish this now and see if we can turn it into something that's, not to say I want to focus on profits or anything, because it's more about the work. I'm
Sure.
one of those kind of artists.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be nice if this did end up being something sustainable for us, I think. And also, this will, if that does happen in the future, like, I have my own webcomic that I want to develop, and I've been working on that for probably 2 years now, and I'm real slow because I'm not a writer and I'm trying to learn how to be one. But I hope that maybe in a few years from now I can probably crack that egg open and see where that leads me. It's not worth talking about in too much detail, but I have some other plans in the future aside from Dragoon and Sonic. So
always good.
But
have something in mind.
Yeah.
But so on the topic of Dragoon, which launches November 1st.
Yeah.
You talked about how you were, certain particular style with Dragoon. Did you have like an overarching design mentality when I'm throwing all these crazy races and locations at you? Or was it kind of like, okay, now he wants me to do this, the madman, how do?
Yeah, I know. That was the thing, is because I was really, when you were telling me, like, there's a lot of sci-fi elements in this, I was really resistant to that because I don't draw that kind of stuff all the time. So it was very hard for me to like fit that kind of design work in. I don't ever do it. I'm not good at it, and I know that. So I was like, when you first told me about Dragoon, like, the first thing that popped into my mind was like, what's his name here? Let me use my computer that's in front of me real quick. Mitsuda. That's a composer. there's a square artist that I really, really like. What's the name here? Hold on a sec. Toshiyuki Idahana. There was a lot of art that I saw from him in particular. He worked on a bunch of Final Fantasy games and other Square stuff.
Right.
And also the guy who did the artwork for FF Tactics and FF12. Like, I was looking at a lot of their work, and I thought it would be a good fit for Dragoon. And not that I just wanted to copy their styles or anything like that, but I wanted to forge something that had that very, like, it was like originally, and this isn't how it is now, but originally I was drawing them with, like, much more truncated bodies and a looser line art. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of intricate detail. And then, like, I started playing other games and seeing things that I liked in those, that I was just like, I don't know, this kind of tone might be better for Dragoon. And I was looking a whole lot at Nier and other things, just, I don't know, other crazy super cool art from JRPGs and other games that I played. And I was just taking all these different influences and trying to, like, mix them in a big barrel, and it wasn't really working. So like I don't, like I said, I don't really have a style that I work in per se, and I don't think I've developed enough as an artist to say I have my own style. So I'm just seeing a whole lot of these influence I was working with, and also I was reading a bunch of shonen manga and trying to incorporate elements from like action scenes and things like that I find that are aesthetically pleasing and present dynamic scenes well. And I couldn't marry like the fantasy artwork I was looking at with the storytelling that I wanted to portray. So I kind of had to step back and take a new look at this and like try to pull something out of myself. I was even looking at I think Tyson has his Diesel. I was like looking at how he did his like line weights, because I was like, I don't know, like the way the story is told, I really like how cartoony and serious it is. Like I really like when a simple cartoon aesthetic is mixed in with a really detailed environment, like you might see in something like Hollow Knight. And if you can't tell, I take a lot of my influence from video game artwork that I've seen. I really should do a lot more traditional artwork study, but it was just eventually I had to step back and try to pull something out of myself, and I think that's where I am now. Like I've been able to marry all of these elements that I like and all of this different artwork that I've been looking at recently, which is just so much. I can't even name all the things that I use as reference material. I have a Google Chrome open on my computer, which has like 25 tabs that are open that are all like Pinterest and wikis and just all sorts of stuff that I stare at all day as I drool and try to make my hand do what I see. But yeah, I don't know. Art's been really challenging for me just because creating something that's not like I'm a lot better, I think, at taking something else that already exists and maybe like tweaking it slightly or trying to improve on it. Like I'm good at building on a foundation, but it's very hard for me to cement the initial like patch of dirt to try to or sow seeds. I don't know what's a better metaphor.
Yeah, they both work.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's really hard, and I don't really know how I ended on the end one here. It's just kind of. I think it was more out of necessity. I just had to like, all right, this could be done.
And see, you say all that, and then in book one, they come across this bit of megafauna, Kiernoid. And in the script, I describe it as basically this combination of a bat and a spider. And I did my best to detail how I think it would work visually, and then just kind of threw it to him. And then he turns it in, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And its panel has been on the Twitter feed, and it's gotten some of the best responses out of all the tweets so far. And it's like, yeah, oh yeah, he does that perfectly.
Cool.
It's so easy. This guy makes it effortless.
That was another contrasting thing, is I was like, I want to draw these cutesy, fun cartoon people, and then like if I see a monster, why don't I make it look monstrous? So I'm sitting there reading like Berserk manga and looking at how intricately detailed these creatures are with like every single piece of fur detailed, and I'm just like, yeah, this will be fine. I should draw it this way because that's aesthetically pleasing to me, not really considering how it fits in with the rest of the comic or how much time it will take me to render every piece of fur, which is why I blacked out some of the legs in that one panel. But yeah, I really like serious, detailed style mixed with cartoony stuff. So I think that's probably the most simple way I could put it, is a simple character with dramatically detailed environments, and hopefully I'm not saying that I'm particularly good at that, but that's what I like. So I want to try to put that into to Dragoon. Like I want to eventually pull the characters back more and more to where they're more like way more expressive. I don't want to draw static, lifeless people that are uninteresting. My clothing design in general is like I would consider it abysmal just because I don't study fashion or color theory a whole lot, and I know I haven't had experience in it, so I'm really trying to push myself to learn how to just create more, I don't know, better looking characters. That's a simple way to put it.
See, now I'm both really excited for when we finally have you rendering some of the ether beasts, but I'll have to hesitate because I know you're going to give me nightmares. But I asked for it, so here we go.
Yeah. No, what I need to do, I think, and maybe I need to do this with you, but like I need to further wrench down a solid aesthetic like rule. Like I think it would probably do us some good to say, like here are influence we need to pull from for these, because up until now you've kind of let me to my own devices. It might be good to rein this in at some point and to really like harshly decide on how to approach aesthetic. It's I think it was probably good that you let me do it by myself for a long time here, because I was really able to produce something I was happy with in the end, and that gives me good motivation to keep work. But it'll probably be important that we approach like more critically in the future, I think.
Sure, but at the same time, I mean, you are kind of establishing what is the look of Dragoon, so it's going to be a little investigative at first. We'll probably look back at book one and go, "Oh God, why did we think this was okay?" But that's how any creative endeavor is.
What I'm hoping primarily is that people look at my artwork now, and I'm really trying to put my best foot forward here. But I'm sure that in a year or maybe even 2 years, if it were, hopefully we're still going strong by then, I really hope that the art style evolves into something that's not only more consistent, but something different. Like every single comic that I've read that's long form, like mostly I notice this in manga more often, but the art style drastically changes over time, and usually it's for the better. Sometimes there's a little bit of like fluidity or expressiveness lost in that. But I'm hoping that people who check it out now might come back in the future and look at this and go, wow, this really has turned into something that that's like, I don't know, different and unique. Maybe some of my influence, maybe less of my influence will be worn on my sleeve at that point,
Sure. Ian, I know you like to plan ahead. How much?
Me?
How much have you already written? And do you plan on this to be a continuing series, or is this going to be? Are these stories going to be limited, or how's this going to work?
So, I am trying to focus, which is really difficult because every single character has their own story, which intertwines with something else, and it becomes what's their story and what's their story and where did this start? But just Dragoon, the story that we're telling right now, is plotted out. I know where we're going. I know the main major story beats. I've broken it down, and it should be about 10 books, give or take.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And book one is done. It is written. Adam has everything, and that came into, I think it was 140 something pages, 140 plus.
Whoa, okay. That length of book. Okay, I was thinking like standard comic length. No. Okay.
No.
So these are whole trades onto themselves. All right.
Oh yeah. Once this puppy is finished online, we'll be looking into the collected printed edition, but that's way down the road point.
Yeah.
But Dragoon is to be, when I say epic, I mean epic. It's a big story. And there are 1,000,001 different avenues to explore off of that, which I may have also somewhat plotted here and there. But, I am focused on getting Dragoon itself up on, because that is the through line. That is the core to all this. And as much as there are big moments coming up, some of which I've told Adam, and it's like, I can't wait to write this scene. You've got to get there first.
Right.
These moments are going to be really cool, but you've got to earn them. So I'm working on, getting there and making sure that when we get to those big moments, the moments that I'm so eager to write, the reader, when they get there, that's the payoff. They're with me on that journey because I know where this is all going. I have to make sure that I bring everyone along with me instead of them going, wait, what? What are these random events you're throwing together? And book 2 is 70% written. There's just a few more scenes I need to finish up. There's one scene in particular that I need to just like overhaul. I know it did not come out right the first time, but like I said earlier on, the first book was completely revised top to bottom a few times because, where do you start with these characters? Did you go all the way back to the beginning of the mythos? Well, you can't do that because it puts everything off by like 3,000 years, and that's not the main characters. That's not what you're telling. Or do you start with this character and build up? Well, that's not the central character. Or do you start here and build up? Well, there's a lot of in-between stuff that isn't necessarily engaging. Where do you start? So after a lot of back and forth, kind of came down to a kind of action beat that has the crew in their kind of normal type of life, and then how the story expands from there. I would love to go back at some point and explore the crew of Fortune's Lap before these events, show how their little family came together, how they all originated. But that's not the most interesting thing about the story. And where we join them is like right on the cusp as things start to get wild. So if Dragoon takes off, and as of this recording, we already have a patron on patreon.com/Dragoon.
Oh?
We haven't launched yet, and people are already showing their support, which is freaking amazing. Thank you so much. If Dragoon takes off and really starts going somewhere, hopefully we'll have the support where I'll be able to go down those other avenues, explore backstories. Like, there's an entire book to Foreign's origin story by itself. Easy peasy. But, again, not getting too ahead of myself, at least not too ahead of myself. But yeah, I have a huge universe that I want to explore with this, but we're starting off with book 1. That'll get things established, get you a feel for what is Dragoon, and then we're going to go nuts as much as we can.
What's the distribution plan for all this? How are you planning on getting it out there?
Okay, so you can go to Drogune.com. That's DROGUNE.com. That's the main website. Pages are going to be put out for free every Friday. Or you can get over to patreon.com/Dragoon, and that's where we'll also have the pages for free. It's just if you want to throw a few bucks our way to help us out, cool. If not, free pages, whatever. That's how we're starting. The long-term plan is to eventually put out printed books once the digital run is done for each book. Beyond that, we'll see. It all depends on demand, interest, and all that jazz.
Sure. So once a week, pages released?
Once a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to take us a while to get through the first book.
It will. We're hoping. Eventually I'm going to get more comfortable drawing this, just for sheer repetition. Like, I'm pretty good with the main characters now, but other designs usually have me caught up at the moment. But once I get things going, I'll likely be able to increase that to 2 pages a week right now. And also, I think it would be silly just not to mention this, but the more Patreon support we get, the better we'll be able to manage this because we'll have more time. That's really it. So
right.
If people felt so inclined to give us $1 a month, which, that would greatly help our ability to pump this out. And I personally, I wish I could do 2 pages a week right now. I just, with my jobs and going, things going how they are, I got to pay my bills. So I can only give it so much focus. But that, my thing is consistency here. Yeah, it'll be slow for a bit, but it's going to come out. I'm not going to let it drop behind. If we ever have any reason that we say we can't post a page this week, we will give you a very good reason for it. It will be known to everybody. We're not just going to ghost people with this. I have 9 scripts in front of me right now that I can just continuously work from. And Ian will just have to supervise the artwork I do, and that's it. And I'll just be able to upload them to the website. Eventually, I do want to say I would like to put this on a few other platforms that I'm currently researching into right now, just because accessibility is important.
Right.
So whether it be Webtoons or one of those other apps that are popular right now, maybe I'll make a DeviantArt page for this. Maybe I'll make a Tumblr for it. We actually do have a Tumblr that's just dragoon.tumblr.com. I just haven't done anything with it yet. I wanted to make this available to people no matter where they are. And if somebody feels like throwing us a bone through Patreon, that's nice. We'd really appreciate that. And that would help us put this out. If you like it, please support us. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that.
Another aspect of it is I didn't want us to get too distracted with the distribution, put too many things on our plate. Part of the reason why it was taking so long for us to get us out there is because I wanted to make sure we had a backlog of pages so that Adam had plenty of time to do the work that he needs to do and, work ahead. So we have Dragoon scheduled up through next year. We've got a consistent number of pages coming. So, hopefully everything will move smoothly.
Also the website, just like I had to go relearn WordPress after not touching it for nearly 10 years. And that was, I'm not the most clever man. That was pretty tough, but I got it. And now we got a website. So great.
I set up the functioning basic site and I'm like, this is okay. It's good to start. And then you fiddled with it for a week. And I'm like, oh, this is what a page is supposed to look like.
All I did was look at other webcomics and go, what works? And it's still, we're going to touch it up some more. That website's not by no means finished 100%, but that's all in due time. Right now it's more important. Right now it's more important that the comic gets put out. That's it. So, you go to the website. If it works on the browser, we're good.
I know it works because I keep going back every so often going, website's up, it's working.
Yeah, it looks good.
No, go ahead, Kyle.
It just puts you want to put the comic itself front and center. You don't need to do anything too fancy. So, having it right there at the top is perfect.
No, I don't need flashing cursors and big bright.
No animated GIFs. None of that.
A tiny sprite of wind that chases your cursor across the screen.
A little under construction.
Stolen ripped
sign.
Stolen ripped MIDI files players on the side that break all the time.
Yep. Definitely need those.
Plays
or don't.
Really bad renditions of Final Fantasy music.
Oh God.
Yep. Definitely need those. Don't need those, please. Don't need those.
And I guess might as well point out too, you're not going to find any ads on the website either because number one, those are obnoxious. Number two, there's no guaranteed way to ensure what those ads are, and we don't want our comic to be advertising God knows what. And three, everyone has ad blocker anyway, so what's the point?
Right. Yeah, unless they're ads you tailor specifically for things you want to promote. But other than that, no. Yeah, those kinds of ads are kind of obnoxious, and they don't really work anymore, so...
Yeah, then we'd have to install one of those. Please turn off your ad blocker and support us.
Yeah,
that just gets in the way and gets annoying and makes
try this and then refresh.
Makes people click away and they don't. Yeah.
So if you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/Dragoon. If you want just a free comic, then there you go. We hope you enjoy it so much when it launches. Or first.
Yeah, November 1st. November 1st. How many times have we said that now? Yeah. We'll have how many pages we with, Ian?
We're going to launch with the first 5 pages on the very first update.
Cool.
And then we'll be moving to 1 page a week after that.
Yep. Slow but steady.
Yep. That gives you a couple of years to to catch up, I guess. If you're doing 1 page a week. Gives you a while.
Start off slow, and then hopefully we'll get enough of a backlog and enough support that we can go super crazy nuts with it.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I think two is pretty standard for most webcomics I've seen.
Anything else you want to add about our wondrous baby project that I'm so terrified is going out in front of the people so soon?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm better with prompts, I guess. I'm really excited. I'm super nervous about it because I've done this before. So, I don't know. I hope people see the things that I see in it. That's a vague statement, but I just mean all the things that I think are cool. I want to show in this work eventually. So,
I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm looking forward to it. So
cool.
And this is the first time I've put something out that is mine, no licensor approval, no editorial oversight, no demographics, no outside continuity that I have to adhere to. This is 100% my creative endeavor, which is to say kind of 50-50 because Adam makes it work. And it's just something that I get to delve into and spin in any direction that I want. And it's been liberating. It's been frustrating because sometimes it just doesn't work. And when it works, oh man, does it feel good when things just click. So I hope you guys enjoy Wind and Foreign and Joblin and Lissy when they all get out there and, all go through their adventures and their misadventures and their ups and their downs. And, oh man, there's so much that we could probably do a 3-hour rant where I just tell you the whole story off the top of my head, but we can't do that.
No, don't do that.
I can't do that. Can't spoil anything. Just
you gotta save that. You gotta save that for walking to FedEx in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like
that's for my ears only.
Show, and I think I talked myself raw before the show even started, just going over what the basic game plan was for this, and just oh my god, can't wait.
All right.
Right.
Dragoon.com. That's where you can find it and read it, enjoy it. November 1st.
Guys, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
And get back to work.
I will. Yeah, I do want to say, just a regular old BumbleKast, and I can just hang out with y'all and talk about the news or whatever it is y'all do. But we'll see how that works out, man. I appreciate being here, though, and I hope y'all have a great day.
You too, Adam. We'll have you on again. We'll definitely have you on again.
See you guys.
See you later.
Cheers. And now it's time for some Q&A. Now, if you want your question answered here on the BumbleKast, either email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, tweet to us at BumbleKast, post anywhere on the Patreon page, patreon.com/Dragoon.
Nope. Wrong Patreon.
Patreon.com/BumbleKast.
There we go.
Comment on any of the YouTube videos, or if you were a patron, go over to the Q&A stream thread thingy in Discord.
All right. Let's get into the priority Q&A. We've got a lot of them this week, so let's go ahead.
We do. If you want to jump to the head of the line, become a $5 patron, or send us $5 over on Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. Make sure to specify your name and your questions so we know what to do with it.
Yep. All right. First one comes from Andrew D. Back in the old Archie Sonic days, we explored the multiverse and saw parodies of various media using the Sonic characters. If you were to make or see a spin-off comic based on one of those parody zones, which one would it be, and who would some of the characters be?
I always thought there was a lot of unmined potential in the Godzilla Monster Island homage, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Just because they put an interesting spin on it. Metal Sonic being the good guy, more or less, the champion of humanity, and Sonic and all of his fuzzy buddies being the bad guys, being the kaiju. I just thought that would be a very interesting approach to the standard and actually do something with the whole parody universes beyond, hey, it's Sonic and he's wearing a Spider-Man costume. That's wacky.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I remember those days. Just silly visual gags. All right. Next one comes from IanWaffles. When reading old Archie Sonic, I always saw Scourge the Hedgehog as the measuring stick to compare Sonic's worst behavior to, such as his ego and violence. Around the middle of the Mecha Sally arc, Sonic has dragged Silver by the quills, attempted to guilt Knuckles into giving him his warp ring, and even threatened the Babylon Rouges by saying, if I wasn't the good guy, I would make stuffing out of you turkeys and make sure you couldn't leave this pile of junk before it comes crashing down. If my friends aren't okay, then you'd better hope you can run faster than me. All of this is to ask, when Sonic is in Freedom HQ and recalls Scourge telling him, all it would take is one bad day and you'd be just like me, was this to imply that Sonic was convinced he was going to become just like Scourge? Or was this Sonic contemplating whether all these horrible things that had been happening to him, as well as his more recent spiteful behavior, could be leading up to his one bad day?
I think it was him reflecting more on life in general. While he was certainly pushed to his limit, he hadn't turned fully. Yeah, he kind of skirted the line, but he had never fallen as far as Scourge had. But in that moment, he was kind of thinking about what that meant. Just how far can you fall before you can't excuse it anymore? So it was kind of him evaluating everything that had come to that point and how he was going to deal with it. And as you see by the end of the story, he picks himself up, he dusts himself off, he reprioritizes things, and stays true to who he is, which is the optimistic hero.
All right. Next one is from Scruffy Matt. I was wondering, do you have one particular game that you managed to finish or an achievement you managed to complete that you could call your proudest gaming accomplishment? Something that you could look back on and proudly say, yeah, I did that. For example, mine is the 7-day Survivor achievement in the original Dead Rising. To achieve that one, you have to last for 7 in-game days, 14 hours in real time, not counting loading times. In infinite mode, where your health is constantly dropping, there are no save points, and the supplies are limited and don't respawn. It took me several tries to get that one, but it was incredibly satisfying for me when the achievement unlocked. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got to that.
No. I guess mine would be beating Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels complete, including World 9, which you could only get to by not warping. So yeah, World 9, and then A, B, C, and D, and then D is the final world. And yeah, it's tough. It's brutal. It's a hard game. It helps when you're playing it on All Stars, where it immediately picks up on the level you died on if you game over. But it's still tough. It's a really tough game. So yeah, that's a big one for me. But yeah, that's when I did as a kid. I can't remember any recent ones where I'm like, yeah, that was tough. I don't know. I just kind of play games, and then when I'm done with him, when I see the credits roll, I'm pretty much done. So I don't get too crazy anymore with that stuff. What about you, Ian?
I have a hard time actually 100%ing stuff, either because I get burned out or because I just am not good enough
to
100% them.
Same.
I do remember being very pleased with the original Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Managing to get a Sonic Solo, all Super Emeralds, Sonic and Tails, all Super Emeralds, Tails Solo, all Super Emeralds, Knuckles Solo, all Super Emeralds. Just seeing those 4 files in a row. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did that too. I mean.
But I also remember being kind of bitter because, man, I was bad at Blue Spheres. It kind of made me tense up super bad. And it's like, there, it's done. I have completed it. It wasn't really satisfying. It was more like I finally removed the shackle I put on myself.
Right. Yes. Those are good ones. I think those are good ones. Next one comes from Eggman Inc., new patron. Welcome aboard. How did Egg Boss Maw's power work? What was the plan for that?
Maw was a thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger, which are notable for their incredibly unhinging giant jaws. So he had a kind of portal built into his jaw so he could unhinge it and have just like this vacuum void dimension contained in his face. And that's an incredibly broken power, but he was a very restrained individual, so that's where the balance in the characterization was supposed to come from. Very understated, but huge power level. Didn't have lots planned for him in the long term, at least nothing concrete, because didn't get a chance to do it. Definitely would have played with that alternate dimension in his head at some point. What is it? Where does it go? Can you escape from it? But what its role would play in the long term, I don't know. We never got that far.
All right. And our final priority question actually comes from a generous contributor on Ko-fi. This is from TV Guru. Ever since Cream's map showed up in the comics, a lot of people have been wondering what's the deal with Central City. Most thought it was a human world, but apparently it's in Sonic's world in the comic.
Okay, this one I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but there are 2 central cities. There's Central City in the human world. We saw that in Shadow the Hedgehog. And there's Central City from Sonic Battle, which, as far as I can tell, is on Sonic's world. I know that the city in Sonic Battle looks very modern, but as Sonic Forces and all the notes I've received from Sega, Sonic's world is essentially analogous to the human world in terms of technology and architecture and all that. So it isn't too far beyond the realm of believability, because there are multiple cities with the same names around the world. I mean, when I say London, you're probably going to think England and not Canada, but there are multiple Londons. There are multiple other cities out there. It's just, that's how it do.
What about the central city that Flash hangs out in? Which one is that?
Well, that's a completely different universe. You know this, Kyle. Come now.
Come on.
Don't be silly.
I'm not.
This is a serious topic.
I'm never silly. You know that. Never. All right. Let's jump into the standard Q&A. This one comes from J Chance. Will we see Supersonic in Season 2, and will we get a shadow-centered story anytime soon?
No spoilers for Season 2. No immediate planned shadow-centric story, just because I feel like I wouldn't be able to approach it in the way that I'd want to right now.
All right. Next one is from Tyler Renee M. Hey, since IDW has Sonic in a clause, along with an intercompany union with Marvel, do you foresee the Sonic multiverse clashing with Marvel's Megaverse crossover anytime soon?
Oh, geez. I don't think so. I don't know what the nature of Marvel and IDW's deal is, and I don't know how involved Disney is with Marvel's stuff. So I don't know if you would have a Sega, Disney, Marvel, IDW thing happening. I don't know who has to talk to who. I mean, if it happens, that'd be freaking cool, but I have no idea how complicated that would be to get to work.
Next one comes from Sonic Fan 123. Ian, do you have the story mapped out for the Sonic the Hedgehog comics? Do you have the story planned out similar to the Mega Man comics where you planned ahead, or do you get ideas as you go? Maybe a combination of both?
Mega Man was unique in that the story was already plotted for me. You know, we had Mega Man 1 through 10 in the ancillary games. So with Mega Man, I was able to just fill in the blanks and link things together. It's a completely different beast. With Sonic, I have thought things out through the Metal Virus saga, but there are other factors that will affect how. God, I'm going to go up there and take that drill. And
I actually am not hearing it.
Really? Because it is deafening my end. Okay.
Weirdly.
I'm just going to start over that answer so it's you don't have to edit. Pick up in 3, 2, 1. Sonic, I've got it plotted out through the Metal Virus saga, but there are various things affecting how we're going to be approaching Season 3 that I can't say that I've got it all figured out. I know there are stories that I want to tell, but we'll just have to see how they all fit into place.
And finally, last question comes from Chauvel. What do you guys like to put on your sandwich?
Sandwich?
Sandwich.
Kyle, what do you put on sandwich?
I'm a simple man. I like meat and cheese. That's a good sandwich for me. Not to say I don't like anything else on it, but if I'm making my own sandwich, I'm just going to go the easy way out and just do meat and cheese, just straight up, just whatever, like good ham or turkey. Yeah, I'm into it. Sometimes some salami, that's pretty good too. Or, I don't know. What do you like to put on your sandwich, Ian?
I'm even simpler, just meat and bread.
No cheese?
No cheese. I'm not really a big cheese guy.
That's a shame. You're missing out. Cheese is good.
Well, I say that, but when Adam was up here for Fan Expo, he was staying with us, and he was kind enough to make our lunches for the show every day. And Adam actually knows how to, do things in a kitchen.
Yeah.
So we get to the show, and I'm like, oh, so this is what a real sandwich is like.
Yep.
It's rather tasty. And then, he goes back home and I'm like, I could make an Adam sandwich. Or I could be my usual lazy self and just throw this turkey on the rye and done. Maybe I'll splurge a little with this mustard. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, it depends.
I don't know. I have a very bland palate.
I'm just lazy.
No, Kyle, you have a bland palate, a appreciation for simple culinary construction.
I'm not quite as bland as Jennifer, though. She's very much into plain. She's very picky. Me, I mean, I'll eat a sandwich with lettuce on it and cheese and mustard, mayonnaise, all that good stuff. I'll eat it, but I won't go out of my way to make that kind of sandwich unless I'm really in the mood for it because, well, I'm lazy. I just want to eat something. Give me my food. I don't need to bother with all this fancy stuff. It's just me. What do I need to bother with that for? If I were making food for someone else, maybe I might make it slightly fancier, but whatever. I don't care. Just give me, let me stuff my face.
I need sustenance so that I can move on and do other things.
Exactly.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for this episode of the BumbleKast. Kyle, where can folks find you when the show is done?
You can find me over on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also head on over to kngi.org where you can find archived episodes of the BumbleKast in MP3 format for your downloading pleasure. You can also find Nitro Game Injection, my other show, which is all about fan-made video game music remixes, arrangements, covers, and all that good stuff. Streaming live Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over there on kngi.org as well, where you can also find downloadable episodes of that show, too. What about you, Ian?
You can find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC or head over to my website, bumbleking.com. That has my whole resume, the release schedule of everything that I'm working on, and links to the brand new comic that I'm writing, Dragoon. That's Dragoon.com, launching November 1st.
All right. And you can also follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast. You can also email us at bumblecast@yahoo.com and listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify.
You can support the show by buying yourself some Bumble merch over at the Bumble store. That's shop.spreadshirt.com/Bumble store.
Don't forget, you can also check out BumbleKast Gaming live streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming. Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as other possible times throughout the week, potentially. Just keep an eye on the BumbleKast Twitter for announcements.
I'm going to wrap it up with a big shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. Thank you so much, guys, for your continued support. And for you guys, thank you to Daniel H., Eric F., Connell T., Alex P., Eggman Inc., Justin S., IanWaffles, Andrew D., Blue Title Gamer, Coupling Crew 128, Frederick, Scruffy Matt, Saturn Blicky, Chris A., John B., Jennifer R., Reverend the Light, Lisa M., PC the Unicorn, Duas Dizdin, Dave M., Mike B., Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Digama F., Wow, Brody M., Neil H., Justin G., Dan M.S., Silly String, Takaro, Lee H.K., Chevelle, Don B., Sin Fritz, John and James K., Adam B.T., Overthinking Films, and a special thank you to TV Guru.
That's going to do it for this episode of the BumbleKast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Adam, for joining us to talk about Dragoon launching November 1st, Dragoon.com. I'm getting into it, too, Ian. I'm going to announce everything.
You are.
I'm going to announce
You're
everything.
You're a good man.
I try.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple weeks for the next BumbleKast. Have a good evening, everybody.
See you later. I don't know what I'm waving at because there's nobody here and you can't see me.
You're sending off your spiritual energy of good vibings.
It's weird and I don't like it.
I'm free.
You're here.
10,000 years he's free. It's time to conquer Earth.
Oh, Ian.
I'm apparently dying of black lung.
I knew that. Don't do that before you finish Dragoon, though. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
The other one I've gotten a lot is a quote-unquote duct cleaning service. You know, where do you live? When can we come by your house when you're not there to clean you out?
Yeah.
So the last time they called, I just put on the Cannibal Redneck Act and kept it up till they hung up on me.
Well, I guess that works.
Oh, I was hoping you'd call again. The last one you sent screamed real good.
Oh, boy.
It was tasty.
Ooh, you're surprisingly frightening at that.
I get that a lot. You're surprisingly frightening, Ian. Good.